give it up for yourselves, please. You guys have been an amazing audience and like have withstood so much, because like that little pocket over there where like there's a lot of rain, a lot of people got wet, and they were still fucking standing, man. They were still fucking standing there like just listening to art, man, and listening to poetry, and it's fucking amazing. You guys have been amazing, and it's fucking late. I'm tired at work today.
Thank you.
Alright, I'm a poet though, for real now. So let me just get into my persona. Anybody Spanish here? Hey, what's up? What's good? What's good? Hey, who knows what pupusas are? Oh, I see some hands. I see some people have been visiting the deli over there. Alright, so pupusas are like a type of arepa that comes from Central America. So I wrote this poem for a Central American friend of mine. It's called Everytime She Makes Pupusas. Her hands were forgotten artifacts that carried more than things from A to B. Worn out by the passage of time, they smell like powdered detergent from doing laundry. Sometimes Mom would pick up things with delicacy, look at them and put them back down, and always knew where to find things around the house, even if they were things I lost. Every Sunday morning, she'd wake up and brew us coffee, and amass between her hands with water and maseca dough to make pupusas. The smell of cooked ground beef and frijoles would wake me up out of my slumber and lead me right into the kitchen, where I would find her laying the patties down on one of these flat surface pancake makers. And turn them over every 3 minutes so they wouldn't burn and still retain a crusty golden surface. My favorite thing to do was to break the patties in two and see the filling of frijoles and a bridge of melted cheese uniting the two halves. I can tell most of you have never had fucking pupusas because this is, they're like, oh, I just want to go get some. But it was more than just pupusas. It was years of slavery and years of civil war, detailing years of bravery from campesinos who would not give up their right to live and to breathe the air of mountains that were bigger than these buildings and trees that bore plenty of fruit to feed our people. And for that richness, we were massacred and pushed out of our towns and told for 100 years that it was a problem of violence, that my ancestors would sacrifice children to the gods, but they had no problem sacrificing the children of God in the service of capital. It was more than just pupusas. It was the indigenous Pipiles, the Lencas, the Mayans, who in 1524 went to war against Pedro de Alvarado, the first Spaniard to invade El Salvador. It was more than just pupusas. It was the children gathered around the campfire listening to the stories about War Chief Adelcaro, who forced the Spanish out of our country and sent them running to Guatemala, or Princess Antusilan Ulap, who was a woman and ruled the Lencas and ordered a countrywide resistance against los colonistas. It was La Matanza of 1932, where 40,000 Salvadorians were killed by their own troops for speaking out against landowners, demanding better livelihood for workers. It was the killings and the bodies and the culture I never saw, the music I never heard, the people I never met. It was more than just pupusas. Her hands carried my entire country here. And every Sunday morning, the sun would rise over her fingers like mountains over rivers that still run, despite the fact that blood has filled them, despite the fact that my country was ravaged by capitalism. Her hands carried my entire culture into the kitchen, where it remains safe and sacred every time she makes pupusas. Thank you guys. Thank you.